Welcome to the Women Warrior Podcast. I am your host, Jen Michelle, and on today's episode, we are talking all things beauty. I am here with a beauty boss, Ayani, from Ayani Beauty Studios in Matawan, New Jersey. So, Ayani, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I wanted to jump right in. You are my first beauty episode. And I absolutely love your studio, from the ambiance, the decor, but most importantly, the services. Let's talk about it. Ayani Beauty Studios. First of all, what do you have at Ayani Beauty Studios?
So we actually have two studios in one building. So on one side, we have permanent makeup. So we do everything from lip blushing to powder brows and eyelash line enhancement. So all of the cosmetic tattooing happens on that side. And then on the other side, we do eyelash extensions, we do body waxing, facial waxing, and we do makeup, we do all of that. So yeah, we have a full range of services, and each studio has its own kind of flavor. And, you know, like the cosmetic tattooing side, it's more sterile and clean. But the lash studio has just like a little bit more of like a girly personality. So it's just been like a nice experience just developing both spaces.
Yeah, I feel like you're even more busier now than ever. I feel like I've really seen your growth within the past year. I mean, you're growing a beautiful team, and they're all A1 at what they do, which is important, because I feel like having a team is hard sometimes, getting it together. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, when I started, to be honest, like I didn't really have much of a plan. I just kind of knew what I wanted out of things. I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. But I think just being kind of intentional about who I wanted to be involved with in business and what I really wanted to do in my studios, I think it really helped me to grow. Even if it was like a slow and steady wins the race kind of way, it kind of worked. And now it's just like I'm busy all the time, and it's like so nice to see how everything has just come together. So it's exciting.
Well, it's like what you said, it's consistent small steps that have brought you to this bigger goal or this bigger win, right? Because we love to celebrate wins with Women Warriors. But let's kind of backtrack, right? Before you had Ayani Beauty Studios, because your story is remarkable, right? You kind of had to start all over again. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I never in a million years really thought I would have a business, honestly. Going all the way back to when I was growing up in school, I was always a terrible student. The worst student. I never did well in school at all. And I didn't realize that that's how a lot of entrepreneurs start. Like many entrepreneurs, they don't do well in school, but they don't realize that it's really the entrepreneurial gene that they have. So I think I didn't realize that, but when I worked for other people, like I got into the beauty industry because I was always the kind of person that didn't do well in school, but I always did well in the subjects that I found interesting. So when I found the beauty path, I was like, oh, I love it here. And I just went full force into that. I did my aesthetics program. I did my training for that. Then I went into lash extensions. That was like my first love, and I've been doing that for the past 10 years. And so in working at other like lash studios, I was fortunate enough to have really powerful, admirable mentors, like other women who owned beauty businesses, and I observed the way they operated. I observed the way they dealt with their clients, like their own personal boundaries and things like that. So I was really lucky to have people to look up to. But still, it always felt like I could never do that, you know? And then I actually, when I was really young, I was 23, I got married. And at the time, my husband's family, they were mostly all entrepreneurs. And so they saw how dedicated I was to my craft. Even if I wasn't a business owner, you know, they were like, she's really good.
Yeah.
And they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I feel like sometimes you need other people to see those qualities in you and really say, like, you can do this. So they would always tell me, like, what are you doing? Open your business. And so I didn't really think I could, but then I just started to think about it, and I would just kind of sit quietly, like without any distractions, and little by little, like I would literally meditate, and like those ideas, those business ideas, like they came to me. Like it's not something I thought about. It was like a vision that was kind of gifted to me. Mm-hmm. And slowly, like just being able to envision that whole vision for the business, I kind of slowly just started taking steps towards it without even realizing it. It's almost like when you see that something is possible and you're able to see it in your mind, then like the natural flow of things just kind of takes you into that direction. So I always like really believe in the power of like visualization. And so that was how I got started. And then like it was my at that time my husband's family who really pushed me to do it. But then once I started, I was like, oh wow, like it's not this big monster that I thought it was. It's literally like one step at a time. From like going to the business filings, like filing for your permits and things like that. It's like really a one step at a time thing. And then came the decorating of the space, signing the lease, like all that stuff. And I really didn't have so much of a strong business plan as I should have. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, that's the better way to go about it, obviously, but I was really just winging it. And
most people are.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't say, right? I remember going into business with my first salon, and I remember what was your business plan? I'm like, because Maplewood is the new Brooklyn and I'm a Brooklyn girl, it's gonna work. The universe, the universe is showing me signs. Like that's my business plan. Mm-hmm. But I think when something's for you, it's always gonna work out. And I love how you're saying how like at the time your ex-husband's family, how they planted this seed. Because sometimes it's the planting of the seed that then starts to activate. Wait, this is a possibility. I can do this. And the consistency, know?
And I think you can probably relate. I mean, I really admire you for the fact that you do, like, you're talented at so many things. Like, there are jacks of all trades, but then there are people who are just, like, good at everything they do also, which is, like, so cool. But, like, being in the beauty industry, a lot of time we're wired to kind of see the flaws in things. And I know that's how I am. Like, I'm very perfectionistic. Yes. Like, I don't want to do something unless I know for sure it's going to be perfect. But I think that ruins a lot of people.
Yes.
And it keeps people from pursuing their dreams. Like, that perfectionism, it kills everything. Sometimes you have to let it be messy and make mistakes and go about things that way. So
absolutely. And I love that you're saying this, because this is the real talk behind, I would say, any industry, but I can relate to you with beauty, right? Because like you said, the perfectionism. I remember when I started doing makeup, I was literally taking so much time because I wanted to be perfect. And now when I look back on my old work, I'm like, what the hell? It wasn't even perfect. But you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, because you just keep on improving and you keep on going. And there's perfectionism is not even a real thing, because nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's just improving. Because with perfectionism, it makes you kind of stagnant, because it's making you a procrastinator.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I think in the age of social media now, it's our greatest tool because it's free, and years ago it was so much harder to promote yourself. And simultaneously, it's like it highlights everything. Like all of your mistakes are on a stage. And so, we get into our heads a lot thinking that, everybody cares so much about our failures, or, when we look nervous, or when, we're slow, and, all these things, they're just like magnified. So, and you see it, like, especially on social media, like you see when people are posting things just to post content, they're not really, adding value necessarily, but there's just like this fight to just constantly appear busy or appear like everything is great all the time. So it's just nice to have these real behind the scenes conversations, because we do it too. We edit our pictures, we do things to make sure the business is presented well, but it's really nice to connect with other female entrepreneurs because you're like, oh, okay, everybody's doing the same thing, but we're still all growing and motivating each other, which is really nice.
Exactly. And there is room for everybody. I think especially in beauty, you know, it's very, I would say we get kind of a bad rap in beauty where it's very cutthroat, but there are women and men that are in beauty that we aren't gatekeepers and we do share. And I love, it's the messiness that is relatable, right? Because everybody wants to share their winning season, but how did you get to your winning season? You can't get to a winning season without losing, right? Exactly. You have to have losses to appreciate the wins and also know how to get to that next win, which I feel like you navigate through, so because you had your business throughout COVID as well, and you're still standing. And that's just something that needs to be commended because so many businesses were affected and you continue to push forward. And now you're booked and busy. You have a great team. For the woman that's on here that's listening that maybe, you know, wants to get into that permanent makeup field or lashes, and because you do it all there, you know, what would you tell her to kind of, if she is that perfectionist or she feels like it's too hard or if she feels like it's oversaturated, what advice would you give?
I would say that when it comes to things being oversaturated, I just don't even believe that that's even a thing at all. I really don't. I mean, so long as you see that there are nail salons on every single corner, that, like, you don't even have to go any further than that alone. You just have to kind of silence the noise, focus on yourself, focus on how you want to serve people. And I think personally, I mean, you and I have had conversations about this in the past. I feel that when your intention is to provide value and add value to people, and that's your main motivation, you will get all the support and all the resources to be valuable to people, and people will feel that you're trying to pour into them and you're trying to connect with them, whether it's the service that you're providing them, the experience that they're getting, or even just like the way you offer your services. Like if you are dedicating yourself to honing your craft, getting better so that you can deliver the highest level of service, people will recognize that and they will feel that. And it's not even for the sake of being the best for competition, because I also believe that there's such a thing as healthy competition.
Yes.
Like healthy competition is like we're all trying to be the best so that we're delivering the highest level of service. Like you kind of just like weed out, you know, maybe the stylists who are going to get all your lashes stuck together, or, you know, the permanent makeup artists who are like tattooing like an inch above where your eyebrow is, you know? Yeah. But I think in that sense, healthy competition is good, and you just constantly want to be better in your skill set. And as long as you're just focused on yourself and you're not worried about what anyone else is doing, your clients will always find you, always. Yes. That's been my experience. Yeah. How about you?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. She's interviewing me now. I don't know. I think for me, I agree with you. I think that healthy competition is a good thing. I think being pushed and constantly being a student and open to criticism. I feel like if you are not open to criticism, you're never going to grow, because I need to know, like, there's a little bit off on this side, or that color didn't look right on that girl, right, when it comes to makeup, or, you know, you need to tighten up, you know, your hairstyles, right? Or like you're saying, constantly being a student. I'm open to constructive criticism because I want to constantly get better. I feel like the industry is always changing. It's always improving. It's always adding new services. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. You should definitely be at your A game when it comes to your clients. Because me and you agree on this is because we understand value. Mm-hmm. We understand it's not just about the dollars. The dollars will always come when you are in a place of serving your clients and providing the best quality. Because listen, if I'm going to charge a certain amount, I want to make sure you are getting that certain amount that I am charging. I'm not just coming from a place of greed. I'm coming because I know this is my worth.
Yeah, and I ask you this specifically, like, not to put you in the hot seat, you know, but it's like, I almost feel like lashes and permanent makeup are so niche, whereas makeup artists, there's so many more of you, like, and especially in the age of TikTok, where, you know, you can learn how to do makeup from a 13-year-old on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. You know, I think people are even more discouraged in, like, like the makeup artist field, you know, and so I mean, just the beauty industry in general is so different now than what it used to be. Like personally, I feel like the people that I serve the best are women who are actually like a little bit older, and they're not as savvy necessarily with makeup. I mean, we have clients from 16 years old to, you know,
63, 73.
No, I think my oldest client that I had she was in her late 80s. She was like 89. And so, you know, we work on everyone, but I think like just figuring, like for us specifically, I think like you are more in like the glam world, but I think our clients are more people who just want to just wake up feeling like confident. You know, they don't want to do too much. Like they just want to look like, okay, my brows are filled in, I have some like lashes and stuff like that, and then they just feel confident throughout the day. So but yeah, like just to your point, I think that there is room for everyone, and there's like my style isn't necessarily like full glam, but the clients who aren't full glam, they come to me. The clients that want glam, they come to you, and you're versatile as well. Like I've seen your work too, but my point is that anybody who wants to get into the industry, you just have to be true to yourself and your style. And I think that's when, you know, you find your people.
Absolutely. You find your people. And I think that's such a big message, especially you, like I said, you've kind of navigated through different waters when it comes to your business, when it came to growing your team, growing yourself individually to be in charge of this studio that is serving so many people of all different ages, all different skin types, which is important because every woman should feel beautiful, no matter how old or how young you are or what background. And I love that you are so versatile in what you do and what you provide. And I know you're always working on your craft. That's one thing. The best people are the ones that they eat, breathe, sleep what they do. And I think that's what makes Ayani Beauty Studios just so remarkable, and it stands out.
Thank you. And yeah, I really feel so good about where we are now, because I think so when I opened this studio, I was by myself for quite some time, and before I felt ready to start interviewing and start bringing more people on and expanding. And I went through so many interviews. I interviewed so many people, and there were so many great people that I interviewed, but I just knew that they weren't necessarily like a match for one reason or another. And that was one of the best pieces of business advice that I ever got, was like hire slow and fire fast. I found that to be that like rings so true for me. And just taking your time to find the people who are going to be in support of your vision. Like anybody who I interviewed and eventually hired, you know, I said to them, you know, it's like, you're not working for me. It's like we all work for the studio. Like we all have to do what's in support of that. So and I felt like everybody that I found who joined the team, they also had that mentality. Like they took pride in the work that they did. They really enjoyed what they did, and it translates, you know, so.
And I love that you stay true, because I feel like a lot of women in business, and I dealt with this when I first had my salon, I always wanted to help somebody, and I would let people stay on longer, even though they weren't the best fit, but I felt bad. And it's learning to separate. You could still be a good person. It's just not personal, right? You're not in with where I'm going, kind of, or, you know, mindset. And I just love your mindset, because I wish I had that advice when I started. Hire slow, fire fast. I mean, if that's not a gem to drop, I don't know. Because as you said, I'm like mind blown, her mindset. And I just appreciate that. Now, let's say for the women that are on and they're interested in permanent makeup, because I feel like a lot of women know about it and they just think it's just microblading, because I feel like that's the biggest question. I'm like, no, guys, like there's so much more to offer. And especially as a makeup artist, and I'm in my entrepreneurship with permanent makeup, one thing that I feel, and I know you definitely know, is people want just natural brows. Like they want natural just the slight enhancements, like you said. I want to wake up and feel refreshed. What would you say for something that's on here that is on the fence with permanent makeup? Like, who is permanent makeup for?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because that is one, like you said, one of our most frequently asked questions, especially about the microblading. Permanent makeup is so much more than just microblading. Microblading, honestly, and this is not to throw shade on any other permanent makeup artists who maybe offer this service, but it's actually become a little outdated.
Yes.
And the techniques have just improved so much over the years. Microblading, I'll just address that first, because that's what everyone asks me. Like, when they DM me, they're like, do you do microblading? And so I think people think that that's all there really is. And microblading, everything is about skill and technique. I'm sure there are microblading artists who have good technique and the results come out good, but it's really a very manual technique. You're literally cutting hair-like strokes into the skin with a hand blade. And so you're relying on just like, how do I explain it? There's a lot of human error that's involved there. If you're not at the perfect depth in the skin, you're not cutting the same size stroke and everything. So if like the artist, for example, is cutting too deep in the skin, the color is going to turn blue. Or it's going to create like a scab or a scar, and so then the tattoo will look a little raised. So those are things that are just no longer an issue with the new techniques that we have. So the techniques that we do now are powder brows, nano brows, or combo brows. So a powder brow is like the look of your brows when you put a little powder, like when you're wearing makeup. So it's just a soft pixelated effect. I mean, you're doing the permanent makeup now too. So it's just a soft finish, whereas the microblading was like a more of a hair-like look. But now we have the nano blading as well, which just replaces the microblading, because the nano blading is done with a machine, and it's done with a tattoo machine that just deposits pixels of ink into the skin, and you can create a lot of different like stroke patterns, and you can make it look very feathery and soft. So for the client who wants that barely there brow look, the nano blading is for them, because it's going to look like you were just born with that hair stroke pattern. Now the combo brow is the combination of the powder and the nano blading. So you can just do those hair-like strokes just in the head of the brow, so it's very soft. And then the powder brow gives you more definition from the body of the brow to the tail. And so there is truly a style for everyone. It's just a matter of the consultation process, and we really take our time to understand what the client wants to look like every single day.
Yes.
And another misconception about permanent makeup in general, whether we're talking about brow styles or lip blushing, which I'll talk about in a second, the permanent makeup is not necessarily supposed to totally replace your makeup altogether. So people are like, well, what if I get lip blush done and I want to wear lipstick? Like, can I still do that? It's like, absolutely. We want to create a style that you want to look like every single day, like right out of the pool or out of the shower, right? But if you want something that's more bold or more glamorous, you can totally pull out your makeup and make adjustments. You know, you can wear your lip liners, your brow powder if you want something more bold to stand out, like if you're wearing a lot more foundation, things like that. So we really will take our time to get to know what your preferences are, and then we'll make our recommendations. We can even do pre-drawings so that you can see the different styles on you, and you are so a part of the process, like from start to finish, from the consultation to the pre-draw to selecting the color. You're really involved. It's very interactive. And
as it should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And as a person who's really neurotic about their face and stuff, that means a lot to me. Like, I will draw your brows or your lip shape with you like it's your wedding day, you know, and we're gonna make sure it's perfect before we start. So
I know. Guys, if you need any permanent makeup, this is exactly who you want to go to. Especially because I know how passionate you are about doing this as well, and I know you absolutely love this.
Yeah,
like, I know the back end of it, and I really feel you should be an educator, but that'll be another episode. Because you just have so much knowledge, and you literally are constantly working on this. Like, this is not something that you just do to have a business. Like, you love this, and I know you give A1 service. I'm there, so I've seen it. No, absolutely. For anyone that is on and maybe they want to ask you some questions, maybe they want to have a consultation, or maybe they just want to pick your brain and they're in this field, where can they find you?
So Instagram is usually the best place to reach me. I live on Instagram, but also our website we just revamped our whole website, and it's very, very user friendly now. So there are a lot of just different links to contact us, whether you prefer to just text back and forth or have a phone call. We have a contact page, so you can fill out the contact page and I can get back to you. But if you're savvy with Instagram, that's like a really good way to reach me.
Share your handles.
Yes, it's Ayani Beauty. It's spelled Aiani Beauty. That's our handle.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Ayani, thank you so much for, first of all, sharing some of your story, definitely dropping gems, and also letting people know that have stigmas over permanent makeup or the process. It's not so scary when you're with the right person, and you're definitely the right person. So thank you so much. Guys, this is the Women Warrior podcast. Today was our first beauty episode, which I was so excited to have Ayani on. So if you have any questions when it comes to all your facial needs, whether it be permanent makeup, maybe some eyelashes, facials, all good things, make sure to reach out to her. But most importantly, being a women warrior, when you sit with us, the conversation is always different.